Alright, welcome once more. Okay, so you can see I'm actually doing the video in parts or in series so that you can actually get a handful of everything I'll be teaching today. Okay, so at this time we'll be looking at some other features in JavaScript which are really helpful, and you will surely always see them and need them when writing React applications. Okay, and some of those features is the .map and the .filter method. Okay, so normally in old vanilla JS, how we iterate over arrays like the one you can see here or objects is using the for loops, okay, which are really perfect. But when writing React applications, we don't see much of the for loops because of how React applications are being designed. So these are features in ES5 that really helps us to neatly and iterate over arrays and objects in a more professional, readable, and maintainable way. So I will show you how they work and what they really are. Okay, so if I have an array consisting of objects like the one you see above, and I want to print out the name property of each of the objects. Okay, normally in old vanilla JS we use a for loop, but in ES5 they brought in the feature called .map. Okay, so it's very similar to your for loops, just that it's more cleaner and it's nice. Okay, so how it works is that I just call my array name and I say .map. Okay, now the .map is a function actually, just like a for loops and other inbuilt functions in JavaScript. It takes in a callback function. Okay, if you haven't heard of callbacks before, callbacks are just functions that are called when you call other functions. Okay, so normally if you do Node.js and JavaScript a lot, you see callbacks throughout your lifetime as a JavaScript developer. Okay, so it takes a callback function, and this callback function takes in two parameters, about 3 arguments, of which 2 are very, very important because you always need them. So the first parameter, it is based on using arrow functions. I taught that in the previous part of this video, so you can actually pause and go back to see how that works. Okay, so this is just a normal anonymous arrow function. It has no function name. Okay, so it just a regular arrow function. Okay, and this is just the code block. This is the arrow. This is the function. Alright, so it takes in 3 arguments, of which 2 are very important. So the first argument, let me call it item, and the second argument, let me call it index. Okay, so this item here represents each item in the array. Okay, so you can actually call it item or whatever name you wish to call it. Okay, so I just prefer to call it item for the purpose of simplicity. Okay, so the item here represents each item in the array. So it can be an object, it can be an array of numbers, an array of strings. But when you call .map, passing the callback, the first argument of that callback is always representing each item in that array. Okay, while this index here represents the index of those items in the array. So if I should console.log item, remember item is an object, so there is item in the array, of which this is an array of objects, so I can say item.name, and if I should print that, you see that returns coding and NCM. Perfect, it's working. And I can also add the index for the purpose of demonstration, and that should print out coding 0 NCM 1, okay, which is representing the index of each item in this array. So actually that's how the .map feature works. Very simple to learn, very simple to use. It's cleaner, it's neater than the regular for loops in old versions of JavaScript. Okay, alright, so quickly I'll be looking at the second feature, which is called the .filter. Okay, in old versions of JavaScript, how we actually filter things, or maybe you have a very big array and you need some items in the array, probably an array consisting of the locations of people, and you need only objects that has a particular location property. Okay, so normally how we do that in old versions of JavaScript, we use for loops and some if statements to actually get those conditions. All right, but in ES5, which is one of the latest versions of JavaScript, okay, they introduce the .filter method. So with the .filter method, you don't have to use the regular for loops any longer. Okay, you can actually filter through arrays perfectly in a very neat way, right? So this also takes a callback function, and that callback function actually takes about 4 arguments. I think, yeah, about 4 arguments, of which I'll be talking about 2 because they're the most important arguments. You always use them and need them when writing React applications. Okay, so it takes a callback. This is just a regular arrow function. Okay, and alright, so how the .filter method works is that it works with actually boolean values. Alright, so unlike the .map, where I just iterate over the items in the array, but this one I want to actually filter. So let's say I need only objects where the age is 21. Okay, so I can just give it a condition. So how filter works is that it works with a condition. I have to give it a condition that if this is this, okay, and that condition has to return a boolean, maybe true or false. So if I say if item.age is equals 21, okay, then now the .filter method actually returns an array. So I can say let's new array equals to this, and I can say so log new array. Alright, so I think that should work. Okay. Alright, you have to return this, and then that should work. Alright, perfect. So as I said before, the .filter method actually needs a boolean of either true or false, like a condition that is relative to this array. So for this one, I said I just need the age where age is actually 21. This will return a boolean actually, and as you can see, that actually works. So it returns an array of objects where age is equal to 21. Alright, congratulations. For the next session, we'll be going deep into React and see how all these things I've been talking so far really apply in React applications, how beautiful they are in writing React applications, and So sit tight with a cup of coffee. I hope you're not done drinking it, and let's go into React.